Hi, I'm Bryan, co-creator of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I'm Sifu Kifu, martial art coordinator for Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Do you really want to fight me?
I'm the movement coordinator. I am developing movements and styles that are unique for each character. And most importantly, I'm causing them to appear realistic.
Sifu Kifu, can you tell the fans where the movements for the bending come from?
Very simply, it comes from my learnings from my teacher over the last 30-something years. He has a vast curriculum of things that he teaches, and I've specialized in a few of them, and I brought my specialities to your show.
Assume your stance. Wider.
You're not even looking.
Wider!
Keep your knees high, Twinkle Toes!
Of the styles that we use for the different characters, what differentiates the essences of these different martial arts forms?
Firebending, of course, we use the dynamic and artistic movements of the Northern Shaolin style. The powerful kicks, the punches, the low stances, the nearly acrobatic movements. It cuts through the center of mass of the opponent. It slices right through. The Chachian, which Azula uses, it's actually one of the root essences of the Northern Shaolin.
What about earthbending? What is the essence of Hungar that differentiates it from the other styles?
The style is characterized by very low, close stances, which is a southern tradition. Hungar is trained a slightly different method. And the movements are very conservative, very compact, very economical, and which I really thought would fit well with, the earthbending people who are, very, very simple, grounded, earthy people.
What about for Katara's movement?
We use a sub-variation of the Yang style Tai Chi, which is the Gu style. The punch in Tai Chi is trained slightly different than the punch in Northern Shaolin. In Tai Chi, it's done very slowly so that you understand and feel the connection from stepping from one foot to the other, so that you feel the connection of what's called 9 gates linking through the body. In Tai Chi, it's performed almost boneless, where it looks like that it doesn't have any real power. Tai Chi is sometimes called the iron in the cotton. It looks very soft, but at its core, it's very hard. Or the needle in the cotton. You push and it's soft, and then, ow, you jump away.
Think fast! Excellent. You have the reflexes of a water-bending master.
Thanks, Katara. Sifu, Katara.
You cannot lie about your own nature. You must accept that you are the Avatar.
And then for Aang, what style?
For Aang, we use the Bagua, the circle walking, as well as some of the linear movements of the Xingyi, the mind-heart boxing. One particular thing about Bagua is a very special style, and it's not something just anyone can walk up and learn. It's based on the fact that you've had some pretty long-term training in some sort of traditional style.
Mm-hmm. Which seems good for Aang and the air nomads being so esoteric and kind of removed, yeah.
And it's a very interesting style. It's based on the I Ching, the Book of Change, right? It's based on walking the 8 trigrams.
And I remember talking to you years ago how that would be a really good style for Aang because of all of these interchanging spirals, how that was sort of like dust devils and wind, kind of whipping. And,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like a tornado.
It's interesting, you know, when I first learned martial arts, I just wanted to learn how to defend myself and fight so that, you know, I wouldn't have to be, you know, afraid. And later on, I began to discover that these stances, these movements, these geometries created certain very unique connections inside. And they started to, at least from my own personal experience, they started to open up spiritual essences that I may have never had access to.
Very good, Ang. You have opened the chakra of truth.
So Bryan, can you tell our audience how we weave in these great martial art movements?
Well, to get them from your body into the animation is a long process. And generally there's something that's in the script that calls for an action or some sort of bending or martial art. And we have a first session with you where it's just kicking around ideas.
You know, it's kind of. So you do that initial drop here, and then a real. Yeah.
We tell you what we need, we say some artistic ideas that we had in mind, and we see if there's anything that already exists in Chinese martial arts that will translate to that. And then you give us some options, and the storyboard artists take that raw footage and they do their thumbnail drawings. And then after they've worked that out, we have a second session where now we know which of the movements you've given us will work, and we decide what camera angle we need to shoot it from, and then we refine the movements more. And then there's a third session where we really make sure we have it all nailed down, all of the details of the hand positions and the camera angle, and any revisions or new ideas. And then that's all edited here and then sent to the animators in Korea. And they will study your movements on video and still images, and the way that the artists have translated those into drawings, the way that they've designed the elements and how they're manifested by the movements. And that all gets turned into the animation. And it's a really long process, but I think it's really worth it. So why do you think it's worthwhile that we put so much effort into representing the authenticity of the martial arts in the show?
It gives the characters and their movements a process. It gives it a feeling of reality. It's when I started to think about, you ask me what type of move would be used for this particular bending. I would literally go into a fantasy world and feel like I had, just returned from the Avatar world and say, well, they would do it like this.
It was important to Mike and I that we didn't just copy moves from movies and stuff. We knew that kind of process would eventually run dry. We wanted to get to the source of it, so that's why I sought you out 5 years ago, right after we came up with the idea for the show. Another cool thing is, even if you don't know martial arts, since these are like such ancient traditions and they're based on the movements of the body, that these things that, these geometries that the body produces in all different cultures, I think people can feel that resonance, the reality, yeah. And it's worth it. It makes the animation better.
And the traditional martial arts are really just beautiful to behold. A lot of thought went into these movements. It's not just about kicking or punching somebody. It's about expressing and building the body's energy and raising the spirit. And the whole show is like that. I think you've put authenticity into everything.
Thank you.
As far as the calligraphy, as far as the stories are just mind-blowing. I'm the biggest fan.
Thanks.
Check out Avatar, only on Nickelodeon.